Welcome back to the Everygirl podcast. I hope everyone is having a wonderful holiday season so far. I have definitely been teetering into the territory of feeling, maybe like a little overwhelmed. I obviously have a lot of work to get done, as we all have, a lot of holiday parties and events with friends and things I want to go to. Last week, I went to a holiday party with Macy from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and I feel like I have not talked about that show on this podcast as much as I really am like such a fan girl over the show. And of all the cool people I've interviewed, all the awesome people I've seen in LA, I fangirled the hardest for Macy, for sure. So it's been a really full, abundant season. Joey, Louie, and I just left for the East Coast for a month. So now we can be a little bit more relaxed, but, a lot of packing, getting ready to leave. So the point in saying this is like it was really a practice for me to keep coming back to our monthly intention of presence and getting back into that feeling of, like I'm so lucky to have such a full plate and to have work that I love so much. And it matters to get these episodes out to you. And I'm so lucky to have friends I want to see and holiday parties to get to go to and tapping into that abundance so that I don't live in the season out of presence, out of joy, feeling stressed and overwhelmed. So here's a little reminder if you needed it too. I went back and honestly, I listened to December's monthly curriculum and it really helped remind me so much our intention. So, just a tip if you might need a refresh at this point of the month as well. And this time of year is strange. It's easy to get swept into autopilot, holiday plans, last minute shopping, year end burnout. And for a lot of us, this is when we hit pause on ourselves. We tell ourselves we will figure it out in January. We'll feel better, clearer, more ready then. Forget about my goals. There's too much going on. I've already maybe quote unquote ruined my goals. So might as well start fresh in January. What if the shift happened now? What if you ended 2025 already feeling powerful, grounded, healthy, magnetic because you decided to now? Here's my PSA, okay? You can start showing up as your highest self today. Yes, right now, even with an overbooked social schedule and a drained bank account and Christmas cookies that obviously cannot be skipped, you can show up as your highest self today. There are two important reasons you should focus on becoming your best self now. First of all, we should really work on programming our brains to stop waiting for a better time, whether it's Monday, the new year, when we're ready to actually live the life that we want. Telling yourself that you will start in January is just another way you're reinforcing the lie that you are not already capable or worthy to be your highest self. Waiting is a habit. And every time we say, I'll start after the holidays or I'll deal with that in the new year, we are reinforcing the belief that we're not ready and we instill the habit of waiting, which means we are more and more likely to keep pushing it off. Secondly, I think this is the most important time of year to connect with ourselves instead of letting hectic schedules take over and living unintentionally like years past. And we can set ourselves up for optimal success come New Year's because you're doing a lot of the reflection and intention setting now. So you're more likely to actually change your life in the ways that you want in 2026. Like, think of this time right now as the pre resolutions or the setup. And then January 1st onward will be the actual action steps to get there. So if you want to level up your life now instead of waiting for January, I'm going to walk you through 7 power moves in this episode that will help you feel more grounded, aligned, healthy, and just lit from within by December 31st. And these tips will also help you enjoy this time of year even more. Power move number 1, brain dump your highest self. If you want to glow up, like truly change your life, you need to stop making goals from a place of guilt or trend chasing and start making them from a place of identity. We often implement routines or we make goals from a place of should. We should wake up at 5:30 a.m. We should follow a strength training workout or a high protein diet. We should journal 2 times a day. We should finish 4 books every month. And all of these goals are based on what we think we should do, but they do not give us the life that we want. All of those goals are fine, but are they really in line with how you envision your highest self? Maybe your highest self, what actually makes you happiest and healthiest, is more like relaxing slow mornings and Pilates and yoga over strength training. You do not need another morning routine template or 5 to 9 before 9 to 5 TikTok video or a Pinterest board called 2026 Glow Up. What you need is to get radically clear on who you actually are when you're at your most aligned. So here's what I want you to do: grab a notebook and just brain dump. No edits, no filters, no judgments, just write. What does my highest self do for work? Where does she live? What does her home feel like? How does she speak to herself when no one's around? But then also consider the really small details, like what she wears. What does she wear when she's working from home? What does she listen to on her way to work? What does she eat for breakfast? How does she spend her time with her friends? And then, and here's the magic, once you know those details, you can start embodying them now. Like these details, what you come up with in this journaling session is your exact blueprint, literally exactly what you need to do to get the life that you want. And then keep this in mind throughout the season. Maybe it's playing her playlist while you get ready for a holiday party. Maybe it's eating how she eats, dressing how she dresses. Maybe it's how you respond when your mom says something that pisses you off at the holiday party. The more details you come up with in the brain dump, the more action steps you can begin taking right now. I like to think of this like, I know we talk a lot about becoming our highest self. I actually really think of it like I'm not becoming my highest self. I'm remembering her. I am making it a habit to remember her because I already am her. It's just a matter of remembering to live as her. Power move number 2, make long term joy your default setting. We really often confuse a short term dopamine hit with pleasure or mood boost. We snack on cookies, we scroll through TikTok, we watch TV whenever we need some comfort or we're feeling stressed out. Like it's literally like our brain's habit. Last week on an episode, I talked about why dopamine is a huge factor in our dependence on our phones. If you haven't felt joy throughout the day, the brain craves a dopamine hit. Just like if your blood sugar level is low, your body will crave the fastest, quickest source of glucose, which will be a starchy carbohydrate or sugar, because it's the quickest form of energy, not because it's the best long term for energy. The same exact thing goes for dopamine. When your body lacks those happy hormones, it's going to crave the quickest, fastest form of a dopamine hit, which would be, really delicious snack or scrolling on your phone. But these really quick spikes of dopamine hit can only, take you so far. Just like with a glucose spike and then crash, your dopamine kind of does the same thing. You can spike your dopamine and then crash again. And then it also will mess with your long term happiness, just like starchy carbohydrates can mess with your blood sugar over time. So there is a major difference between this feels good right now and this will make me happier. Sometimes these quick dopamine hits drain our energy, they lower our mood, they lower our motivation, they make us not feel good. And then we struggle more with working toward what we want to accomplish in our life. So the power move is to prioritize long term joy in every single decision or action step you take. Every time you eat something, say yes to plans, pick a workout, ask yourself, will this make me 1% happier or 1% less happy tomorrow? When you start making micro decisions based on future joy, like choosing to go on a walk instead of scrolling because it will boost your mood so much more, or eating something nourishing instead of whatever's closest because you know how much energy it's going to give you, saying no to plans that drain you, whatever it is, making the smallest decisions based on your future joy, how you will feel tomorrow, in 5 hours, in a week, your entire life will recalibrate. You will start building trust with yourself. You start building evidence that you know how to care for your own energy. And this isn't like a, don't eat the cookie, don't give yourself pleasure kind of moment. Because oftentimes actually, eating the cookie might do more for my long term joy sometimes than restricting myself. I just made cookies with my mom, and enjoying some together will be this wonderful memory and one of the best parts of my holiday season. While restricting myself from this cookie would ruin this moment for me and lead to so much stress. But then obviously there are the other times where if I were to eat a sleeve of Oreos while I'm exhausted on my couch, it's going to make me feel sluggish and throw off my sleep. And honestly, yeah, it would probably make me 1% less happy tomorrow. It's not about any right or wrong choice or action or food. It's not about demonizing pleasure. It's actually quite the opposite. It's an invitation to notice when something is giving you a dopamine hit versus actually supporting your joy and making decisions based on long term happiness instead of short term reward, which I actually believe is the more long term pleasurable option. Power move number three, add, do not subtract. Around this time of year, it is so easy to start thinking in terms of cutting back. We're planning for the January detox, or we are telling ourselves we'll reset after the holidays. The underlying message that we typically feel and hear this time of year is you need to take away the quote bad stuff in order to be good. We are conditioned to think that health means taking things away, cutting the sugar, cutting screen time, cutting carbs, cutting bad habits. But there's a lot wrong with this mindset. It's, first of all, exhausting, but it also puts you in a state of lack, which means more cravings, more resistance. When your mindset is, I need to cut this thing out, you are operating from a place of not enough, which also breeds shame and perfectionism, which are two of the biggest blocks to making actual sustainable change. What if you didn't need to restrict anything in order to feel better or get healthier, to lose weight, or to heal your symptoms? What if becoming your best self wasn't about eliminating what's wrong, but about adding more of what feels right? Shifting to an add mentality of what you can add will be what actually transforms your health and routines for a few different reasons. So, adding is actually sustainable, adding builds momentum. When we think of what we can add in our routines, whether it's adding in a walk or drinking more water or putting more veggies on our plate at the buffet, we will then ask better questions to ourselves. What would support me right now? What does my body need more of? What can I give myself today that will move me toward who I want to become? The mindset of adding helps you build trust with yourself. When you're so focused on what you're not allowed to do in that subtract mindset, you stop tuning into what your body or mind actually needs. Because inherently, like, subtracting is rule based, right? You are not eating sugar, you are not eating gluten, you are avoiding alcohol. Adding is need based. You are asking yourself, what would support me right now? Maybe that means drinking more water to support your energy. Maybe it's adding more veggies because your digestive system's been feeling pretty sluggish. Maybe that means adding a grounding ritual to your mornings before your crazy holiday parties and busy schedules take over. Maybe it's adding in pleasure because this season has been feeling a little sad. And the more that you give yourself what actually serves you, the less you crave what doesn't. You don't force change, you grow into it. So this season, instead of punishing yourself for not doing enough, start giving yourself more of what supports you. And I promise you guys, it will genuinely make the biggest difference. Power move number four is to read something that matches the life that you want. Reading is one of the most, I think, underrated tools for identity shifting. Books literally rewire your brain, they expand your internal vocabulary for what's possible in your life. They offer new models for how to think, how to live, how to be. Like, it's so basic to say, yes, read more, but I really think it is the most underrated hack to change your life. So here is your power move. Read every single day through the rest of the year, even just a few pages. I honestly think this is also a really helpful habit during this crazy season. If you're at home with your family, just a few pages before bed or when you wake up will help really center yourself, get that, me time. I love reading when I'm at home and just even giving myself a few minutes in the morning or at night. It really makes a big difference. The key is to be intentional about what you're reading. Choose something that aligns with the version of you that you're stepping into. Maybe it's a finance book because your 2026 self is tapping into rich girl energy. Maybe it's a memoir from someone living your dream life. Maybe it's fiction because your nervous system needs an escape and it sparks creativity that you need right now. It doesn't need to be some like deep or intellectual or even like a self help specific book in order to be transformative. The key is choosing something that pulls you out of your current loop and into a bigger way of thinking. Obviously, it's one of the habits that requires no motivation. If you have a library card or a Kindle account, it's like basically free. And it creates a huge ripple effect in how you speak, how you think. If you need some book recs for this power move, I got you. If your highest self is building wealth and self trust in your finances, I love the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. It's kind of like a no shame financial wellness tool, but it's still very tactical and empowering. It's kind of like rich girl energy meets actual bank account, like tangible routines. I read this at the very beginning of trying to figure out my financial situation, and it taught me so much in such a understandable way. Or the book The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It's a super fascinating reframe about how you think about money. It's not just a book about like here's how to budget. It's more of the fascinating psychology about your relationship with money that I think can really transform how you think about wealth and start building and attracting abundance. If your highest self is healing and reconnecting to her intuition, or maybe just wanting to live her best life, Untamed by Glennon Doyle, it's one of the most empowering books I've ever read. It shifted a lot for me. Or any of Brianna Wiest's books, The Mountain is You, The Pivot Year, 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think. We love Brianna Wiest on this podcast. Her 2 episodes that she came on for are still some of our most downloaded episodes. Definitely go listen to those if you haven't yet. Dr. Joe Dispenza is always great if you want to change honestly anything about your reality. He comes about it from a very scientific place. There are so many good books if you want to heal your body. Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom by Dr. Christine Northrup. The Woman Code by Lisa VT if you want to heal hormones. Um, what else? The Body Keeps Score. Hungry for More by Dr. Adrian Udeem if you're working toward weight loss goals. There are just so many great books out there. So just read something every day for the life that you are stepping into, whatever that means. We know beauty comes from within. And I'm not talking about self love and positive energy, even though, yes, being kind does make you prettier. I mean, literally, your skincare routine should start from the inside. I love serums and lotions as much as the next girl, but the beauty routine that makes the biggest difference doesn't sit on your countertop. It's about how you nourish your body. That's why I've been using Age Repair from Liposachet. They're collagen powered, science backed, and actually absorb into your body thanks to liposomal technology, which means more of the glow nutrients like marine collagen peptides, biotin, and vitamin C, E, and A actually get to where you want it to go for benefits like improved skin elasticity and firmness, hair shine, and nail strength. You take one little sachet a day, you can take it straight. I like the taste of it, or mix it into water or juice, or throw it into your smoothie after you blend it. Because what you put in your body truly makes a bigger difference than what you put on it. Read more about Liposachet at theeverygirl.com and get 35% off Liposachet Age Repair or any of the other Liposachet products exclusively on Amazon when you use code Liposachet35. That's LIPOSACHET 35 at checkout. Promotion runs until January 31st, 2026, or while stocks last. No minimum purchase required. The promotional code can be used only once and cannot be used in conjunction with any other promotional code, coupon, or discount offer. The theme of this month's monthly curriculum is presence because I want you to actually enjoy the season, not sprint through it. And I have a hack that will help us all be more present. This year, I am letting Shipt take a few things off my plate so I can actually enjoy the season. You can get same-day delivery on the things you need: groceries, holiday decor, gifts, and yes, even the stocking stuffers or white elephant gift you forgot. They partner with over 100 national retailers and local favorites. Think Target, Michael's, PetSmart, and shoppers with Shipt handle your order with the kind of care your type A brain dreams of. I'm talking updates, thoughtful substitutions, so your order is just right. Ship's Season of Savings event is happening now through December 28th. That means exclusive deals and serious discounts, including member only savings. Terms apply, but you know we love a good deal. So whether it's groceries for your holiday dinner, last minute gift wrap, or that toy your niece swore she couldn't live without, Shipt has your back. It's gifting made easy, groceries made convenient, and errands made obsolete. Download the app or sign up now at shipt.com/hi. Power move number 5 is to romanticize ruthlessly. I know that, romance your life is like this fun trend. It's very lighthearted. But I actually look at romanticizing life as little glimpses into the life that you are meant to have. Think about it. Your highest self, this version of you, really does show up when you make your coffee a little slower, when you dance around your kitchen cooking dinner, when you play that one playlist while getting ready, or you light a candle while you're working. Romanticizing your life is not actually about the aesthetics. It's actually more about energetically aligning yourself with the life that you want. When you start seeing all of the beauty and the joy and the pleasure that is already in your life, your brain rewires itself to expect more joy, more beauty, more presence, more alignment. So, for the rest of this month, for the last couple of weeks of 2025, as we're prepping to make next year our best year ever, go overboard, romanticizing your life. Spray the perfume, even if you're just staying at home. Light a candle just because it's Tuesday. Make your oatmeal in the special bowl. We all have a special bowl, don't we? Wear lipstick to run errands. Play your main character playlist on your walk instead of another productivity podcast. Yes, that includes even this one. You are not doing these things for anyone else. You're not doing this to look aesthetic on Instagram. You are doing these things to anchor yourself back into the energy of who you are becoming. And especially if your season is feeling a little disconnected or low mood or, just not maybe what we expect the magic of the holidays to be, because I think that's also a big reality of this season is there's something bittersweet about it. And for some people, there's something that is just plain sad. It's not always because something is wrong. Sometimes you are just overdue for beauty, for pleasure, for a reminder that you are allowed to feel good right now. Romanticizing your life is a rebellion against living on autopilot. It's a way of practicing joy on purpose. And not only is it an incredible method to make the most of this season and enjoy your December and your holidays, but it's a manifestation strategy to get into alignment with your highest self going into 2026. Power move number 6 is to reflect before you resolution. Every single year, most of us will pick, a few resolutions that we think will make us feel better in the next year. We want to lose 20 pounds. We're going to get the promotion. We're going to start a certain habit, clean up the diet. Every year, the data says the same thing. Around 80 to 90% of resolutions fail by February. As soon as 1 month, we lose motivation, we forget the goals altogether, or maybe we feel like we are right back where we started by springtime. And our lives year after year stay exactly the same. There's obviously a lot of reasons why this happens, and I will be breaking all of those reasons down in the December 30th episode, so stay tuned for that. But one of the biggest reasons is that you skipped the reflection. You didn't do the prep work to actually understand what's working in your life, what's not working, and then what kind of goals are actually right for you. When you set goals for new year without first reflecting on your previous year and where you are now, you end up chasing outcomes that might, look good on paper, but they actually aren't best for you. Or maybe you're setting goals that will never truly be sustainable. So, this power move is very simple, but it is so underrated. Sometime before the end of December, pause for 10 minutes and reflect on this past year. What about 2025 energized you? What drained you? What patterns kept showing up for you? Where did you grow? Ask yourself, what new things entered your life this past year that you're grateful for? What are you most proud of from 2025? When did you feel like you were most yourself? What are you ready to leave behind in 2025? This reflection is the part that most people skip. And it's why you will make resolutions in 2026 that will actually stick because they're coming from self awareness. Once you get really clear on how you've been living, where your life is right now, you can make smarter, more aligned choices about how you want to live next. And power move number 7 is to become unavailable for the old you. There's a moment in any transformation where it is no longer about habits or setting goals or visualizing your dream life. You've done all of those things. It's about deciding that the old version of you simply doesn't run the show anymore. And I think this is the hardest part. We talk all about the vision boards and visualization methods and dreaming about your dream life. And I love that. But in learning and getting to know your future self identity, you also have to lovingly acknowledge where you no longer are the old you. The version of you that tolerates half hearted friendships with people that can make you feel bad, or the version of you who second guesses her worth, or who performs smallness because it feels safer than being seen. When I say become unavailable for the old you, I'm talking about something called self concept. Self concept is essentially the story that you believe about who you are. It's not about how you describe yourself. It's not like, I'm Josie, I'm a female, I'm a podcast host, I live in LA, I'm a fiance, I'm a sister, I'm a whatever. It's actually the unconscious identity that you carry around, what you believe you're capable of, what you think you deserve, how you expect other people to treat you, what kind of life you believe is for you. It's why people can really want so badly to lose weight or to get the new job or to start the routine and still self sabotage or to not make any changes in their life and their life looks the exact same. Because if their self concept hasn't changed, no matter how much they want something, their external world snaps back to match the internal story. On the flip side, if you shift your self concept, even before any external changes show up, you start naturally making different decisions without even trying. You say no to what doesn't align with you. You stop chasing people or proving yourself. You show up as if the glow up already happened. So when I say become unavailable for the old you, what I'm really saying is stop acting in alignment with an outdated self concept. Your self concept is the thermostat. You know how, like, if you have like a Nest or I guess like any kind of AC or heater or whatever, you can set a thermostat. So no matter if it's cold outside, if it's hot outside, as the weather changes, the air conditioner unit is programmed to change the settings to make sure that your home stays at 72 degrees. If that means turning on the heat because it's cold outside, if that means turning on the air because it's hot outside, your thermostat is wired to keep your home on the level that you set it to, right? Your self concept works the same way for your life. If you do not adjust your self concept, you will always return to the same emotional temperature, no matter what's going on in your life or how hard you work or your routines. Your life will always autocorrect to the same temperature. So, if you need some examples for what this might look like, I know that this, I don't know, it sounds like a little meta and kind of out there. No longer acting like your outdated self concept, becoming unavailable to the old me. Here's what that has looked like in practice for me, if it gives you some inspo. So, for one example, I used to have an identity around being productive. I felt like I needed to do a lot all the time because deep down, I really believe that my worth came from my achievement. If I wasn't accomplishing something, if I wasn't getting ahead, I felt behind. Or honestly, what it actually was probably is it made me feel like I wasn't distinct. If I wasn't always working towards something, that I wouldn't really, like be known or be distinct. I think that's kind of like a middle child syndrome I have. So I had this identity of like, I'm the girl who will always get stuff done. I'm the one who never stops, who always works. That was the story that I was telling myself for years. So when I got really clear on, my highest self is not feeling guilty about resting and hustling all the time and trying really hard at all, actually. My highest self is really attracting and enjoying and experiencing pleasure and resting and loving and enjoying life and then attracting success through that. It didn't mean just like, okay, now I'm going to rest. It meant choosing to believe that rest wouldn't make me less successful, that it would make me actually more powerful. I really had to build a new self concept. I had to really program I am worthy before the to do list is checked off, or that I didn't need to hustle so impossibly hard to prove to my bosses that I mattered. I have worked on this for years, and now I really feel like I'm at a point where I believe deep down that I will inherently attract success because of who I am, not because of how hard I work or how much I work, and that recharging my energy is the most productive thing I can do. I really believe that deep down. So every time I rewrote this narrative and rested without guilt and noticed these old beliefs and chose a different one, I was quietly writing a new self concept that took many years to finally feel fully tapped into. And then, probably a bigger one for me that I'm still working on releasing, I'm sure many of you can relate to this, is the identity that I'm the girl who always has to be liked. For so long, honestly, since I don't know, first grade, probably, maybe even earlier, my self concept was wrapped in this one simple rule, which is be likable at all costs. I kind of grew up with like, I'm the girl who is likable. I have to do everything I can to be as likable as possible to everyone. And I realize how much it's holding me back. I mean, I've talked about this a little bit before, but loving this podcast so much and this being like my dream in my life and where I feel like I'm holding myself back. I started this podcast being terrified of being too bold or too opinionated or too exposed because what if someone didn't like me? What if I got a bad review or bad feedback or someone was like, who the fuck does that girl think she is? Failure doesn't scare me. What I'm actually deeply afraid of is disapproval, of not being liked. And the thing is, I didn't realize how many of my decisions were being filtered through that lens and how to this day, I think I'm keeping myself small in a lot of ways subconsciously because thinking about more success or more listeners or more followers on Instagram or whatever it is means more people that could not like me or could not like something that I said or posted. So becoming unavailable for the old me means to me letting go of the need to be universally liked. And every time that little need comes up, rewriting it. Because again, I'm still working on this all day, every day. So, for example, when it comes up of like, oh, I'm scared to say this thing, or oh my gosh, I got a bad review, or someone DM me this mean thing, and it bothers me forever. And it bothers me so much because it shakes that identity. It shakes the identity of I'm the girl who's always agreeable, who's always likable. So every time I realize that really uncomfortable feeling and I can name that self concept of the identity, I'm the girl who has to be liked, I change that to something, like I'm the grown ass woman who is grounded and confident enough to be misunderstood. Or, I don't need to be everyone's favorite. Even as I'm saying that, I'm crazy. This is what I go to therapy about, by the way. Even as I say that affirmation or identity of like, I don't need to be everyone's favorite, I inherently do not believe it. I want so bad to be your favorite, but I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. And, I'm working to understand if someone doesn't like me, it's not a problem to solve. It is just evidence that I'm no longer performing the identity that used to keep me safe, but is now keeping me small. So, those are some examples of where that looks like to me of just understanding that old identity that I don't want to claim anymore, and then realizing where it's coming up and allowing myself to be unavailable to it. But here's a secret with this: the old identity, she's going to keep showing up. Okay. No matter how much work and therapy you do, she's still going to send a text here and there. She's still going to spiral about a thought. She's still going to go back to the old habit here and there. Your job is not to fight with her or to even like hate her or wish that identity didn't exist, because at some point, likely when you were a child, as most of our ideas about our identity were formed, it developed to keep you safe, but it no longer is serving you. So we just don't have to hate her or fight with her. Instead, we can just stop engaging with her like she's still in charge. We can give empathy and love to that old self concept. She was doing her best with what she knew. That version of you who stayed small, who chased productivity for validation, who tried to be perfect, who worried about being liked. She learned those patterns for a reason. She kept you afloat in this crazy freaking world that told you that your worth had to be earned. Of course, she was there, but you don't need her in charge anymore. And you can lovingly work on becoming unavailable to her so that you can step into this new self concept. And also, I feel like this is important to clarify with this wording. It's not becoming someone new. Your future self, I think of it as not becoming a brand new identity. Becoming your best self is actually more about unbecoming. It's going back to your authentic, true self before the world gave you toxic productivity or need to be liked or crippling self doubt and anxiety. Becoming unavailable for the old you is not rejecting any past version of you. It is liberating yourself from limiting beliefs. It's saying to these beliefs, thank you for getting me to this point, but I've got it from here. So, those are the 7 power moves to end 2025 as that girl. And here's where I will leave you guys. If you commit to these 7 power moves, obviously not perfectly, doesn't have to be all at once, but you just start intentionally and gently bringing these into your life, you will not only close out the year as the best version of yourself, but you will begin the next one as the most powerful version that you've ever known. But more on that to come. This is only the beginning, Every Girls. Our New Year's episodes are stacked on stacked on stacked. So stay tuned for some exciting things coming up and enjoy your holiday season as that girl. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I know I sure did. Please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference for our show so we can keep growing and bringing the content that you love. If you want more info, you can find us at the Everygirl Podcast on Instagram or at theeverygirlpodcast.com. Talk to you next week.